The moment you stopped chasing, something inside them cracked open. That's not random, and neither is the fact that you're here right now. There's a reason this message found you. Something has shifted, but not in them, in you. You're not the same anymore, and they feel that change every single day. They may not fully understand it, but it's affecting them in ways they didn't expect. What they feel for you isn't just admiration, routine, or comfort. It's love. The kind that doesn't follow logic, doesn't listen to pride, and doesn't wait for perfect timing. Real love. They believed they could walk away from it. That distance would silence it. It didn't. It couldn't. You didn't imagine the connection between you. It wasn't something you created out of loneliness. It was real then, and it's still real now. Whatever brought you together had purpose behind it. And when something is placed with intention, it isn't easily undone by human choices. But something within you changed. You grew quiet in a different way. You stopped reaching, stopped chasing, and pulled your energy back to yourself. The moment that happened, they felt it. Like a soft door closing, like warmth slowly leaving a room, and it shook them. Put your hand on your chest for a second. Feel that warmth. That's real. That same warmth is what they feel whenever something reminds them of you. And that happens more often than they admit. You were never too much. You were simply real in a way they didn't know how to handle. And every moment of that was seen. Every time you tried, every time they pulled away, every quiet night you carried something you couldn't explain. It all mattered. None of it went unnoticed. There's something unfolding on the other side of your silence. Something they haven't told you. Maybe something they don't even fully understand themselves yet. But it's there. When you stopped chasing, they noticed immediately. You still responded, but differently. You were present, but not waiting. You were kind, but not holding on. And that shift hit them before they could even process it. Instead of being honest about what they felt, they did what people often do when they're scared. They tested you. They stay up at night more than you think. They hide it well during the day, distract themselves, convince their mind that everything is fine. But when they sleep, they lose control of that narrative. And in those moments, you show up. In their dreams, you're there with them, somewhere that feels real but isn't. You're talking, laughing, calm, not chasing, not needing, just whole. And that version of you unsettles them the most, because you're no longer reaching, you simply exist, complete on your own. When they wake up, there's a brief moment, just a few seconds where none of the distance feels real. For that short space of time, it feels like you're still close. Then reality returns. The silence, the space, everything rushes back in, and they're left lying there, feeling something heavy they can't fully explain or ignore. Their body reacts before their mind can make sense of it. A tight feeling in their throat when your memory surfaces. A quiet tension they can't shake. Because what they feel didn't disappear. It just went somewhere deeper, somewhere harder to escape. There's a sinking feeling in their stomach when they realize your silence has gone on longer than usual. Then, out of nowhere, a warmth spreads through their chest when a song plays. The kind they would have sent you before. Their breathing shifts. Their hands don't quite move the same, and their body starts reacting in ways they can't fully control. Even if their face stays neutral, their body gives everything away. If someone casually mentions your name, something in them reacts instantly. Their attention sharpens, their eyes move, and for a brief moment, something inside them wakes up, only to quickly shut itself down again. The body doesn't lie. It never has. And their body has been telling them the truth about you for longer than they're willing to accept. They check your profile more than they'd admit. They notice what you post, what time you post it, how you look, how you're living. They see your smile and they notice they're not part of it. They scroll, pause, put the phone down, then pick it back up again. They check if you viewed their story. Sometimes they post things knowing you'll see it. Then they wait and check again. They notice when you've seen it. They notice when you don't react. They notice how you keep moving forward without hesitation. They type your name, then erase it, start writing a message, then stop, close the app, open it again. Eventually, they send something small, something casual, something that could mean everything or nothing at all, depending on how you respond. But they're not really waiting for a reply. They're waiting for a feeling. They're looking for that warmth you used to give so easily, the version of you who would meet them halfway without hesitation. They felt it the moment your energy changed. There's no doubt about that. And whatever that realization cost them, it mattered more than they expected. What they feel for you is love, not a random fixation, not some empty attachment. They connected with something in you that felt rare, something they haven't found anywhere else. And once you feel something like that, you can't just switch it off. They've tried over and over again, filling their time, distracting themselves, convincing their mind they've moved on. But every morning, the feeling is still there. Touch your wrist for a moment. Feel your pulse. That steady rhythm has continued through every silent day, through every unanswered question, through every moment you doubted what you felt. It never stopped, and neither did what they feel for you. This connection didn't come from nowhere. It wasn't random. It was placed there with purpose, something deeper than logic or explanation. And what's placed with that kind of intention doesn't just disappear. They lie awake at night thinking about you, more than they'd ever say out loud. There are thoughts they keep buried, feelings they don't know how to express. But they're there. If they could drop their guard completely, no pride, no fear, no walls, this is what they would admit. They noticed the exact moment you changed. It caught them off guard. They had grown used to your presence, your energy, the way you were always there. They didn't realize how much they relied on that until it shifted. And when it did, something they had been ignoring suddenly became impossible to ignore. They didn't know how to express it. They've never been good at saying what truly matters. So instead, they did what they always do when fear takes over. They tested you. They know it wasn't fair, but they needed reassurance. They needed to know if you still cared, if something was still there beneath your silence. They've thought about you every single day, not by choice, not because they planned to. They tried to move on, to fill their time, to distract themselves with anything that would help them forget. None of it worked. You're still there, in the background of everything. They remember how you used to reach for them. They remember how it felt, the way you said their name like it actually meant something, the way you listened, fully present, not just waiting to speak. They remember when things felt simple between you, before everything became complicated. They remember the last time they saw you clearly, before the distance, before the weight of everything unsaid. They remember what you wore, what you said, and even the things they wish they had said back. They remember more than they've ever admitted to anyone, even themselves. They told themselves they were fine, that you were just a passing moment. That time would fade it all away, but that wasn't true. They're still there, stuck in that space, unable to fully move forward or close the chapter. And now, your silence is something they don't know how to handle. So instead of being direct, they reach in indirect ways, leaving small openings, subtle signals, hoping you'll step toward them without them having to ask. I keep testing you, and every time you don't chase, every time you stay steady, every time you respond without that urgency you used to have, something inside me cracks, and at the same time, something begins to mend. Part of me feels relief, because this version of you, the one who stands whole, calm, and grounded, is the version I always sensed was there beneath everything. But there's a thought I can't escape. What if it's already too late? What if you've made your decision? What if the warmth is gone now, and I'm the reason it disappeared? I have no one to ask. I'm carrying all of this on my own with nowhere to put it. I just know that quietly losing you is the one outcome I wasn't prepared for. It feels like I'm losing the one person I was meant to hold on to. You felt this before, haven't you? Some part of you already recognized it. Your heart has known for a long time. You were never the issue, not even close. You were the answer they didn't know how to receive. And now you're starting to understand what all of this really means. Those tests you've been noticing, they aren't random and they aren't meaningless. They're not games for the sake of control, and they're not cruelty disguised as strategy. They're the closest thing to honesty that fear allows them to show. Every test is a hidden message. It's them saying, I still want you. It's them asking, are you still there? It's them trying to reach you without exposing themselves fully. They're not questioning your love. They're trying to figure out if it's safe to show their own. That's the truth of it. Someone who doesn't care doesn't behave this way. Someone who has truly moved on doesn't spend late nights overthinking a simple message, trying to make it sound casual while hiding how much it actually means. Someone who is over you doesn't watch your silence like it's the most important signal in their world. What looks like distance is actually fear. What looks like detachment is something much deeper trying to protect itself. Underneath it all, the feeling hasn't shifted. Those messages typed out and erased at 2 a.m., that's not confusion. That's emotion without the courage to be spoken. And whether they admit it or not, it's real. What exists between you didn't just disappear because one person got scared. It changed form. It moved into silence. It found other ways to exist, but it didn't vanish. Now bring your hands to your face for a moment. Feel your own presence, your own warmth. That's you coming back to yourself. You're not the same person anymore. You don't wait the way you used to. You don't chase the way you once did. And that shift is powerful. They see it, you feel it, and it matters. What you experienced wasn't imagined. The connection was real. The emotions were real. And whatever brought it into your life isn't finished with it yet. Something inside you changed, even if you can't pinpoint the exact moment. Maybe it was gradual. Maybe it happened all at once. But there came a point where waiting stopped feeling like love and started feeling like losing yourself. And without needing to explain it to anyone, you let go of the chase. You stopped reaching for your phone the second you woke up. You stopped letting one person's silence shape your entire day. You stopped replaying every conversation, searching for mistakes. You stopped trying to decode every word, every pause, every delay. You stopped overthinking your messages, stopped editing yourself just to seem less invested. You stopped blaming yourself for things that never made sense in the first place. You stopped shrinking who you are just to make someone else more comfortable. You stopped rearranging your entire emotional world around their moods. You stopped pouring everything out and then apologizing for it afterward. You stepped back. You stopped letting confusion feel normal. You stopped turning your truth into something softer just to avoid discomfort. And without making an announcement, without needing validation, you chose yourself in a way you hadn't before. And that changed everything. You didn't announce it. You didn't make a scene. But something in you shifted in a real, undeniable way. You stopped asking for their attention without ever needing to say the words. You stopped being the one who always reached first. You stopped keeping yourself so open and available that it slowly drained you. And most importantly, you stopped shrinking parts of who you are just so they could feel more comfortable in your presence. Instead, you came back to yourself. You became whole in a way that didn't depend on anything outside of you. And it didn't happen because they returned. It didn't happen because the silence suddenly broke or because they finally said what you had been waiting to hear. It happened because you made a choice. A quiet, powerful decision to choose yourself. You chose your own healing over confusion. You chose your own peace over constant questioning. You placed your own name, your own needs, above everything that once kept you stuck. That kind of shift doesn't go unnoticed. Even from a distance, they feel it. They may not fully understand it, but they can't ignore it either. In fact, that's the part that unsettles them the most. You didn't disappear from their life. You didn't create drama or force an ending. You simply stopped waiting. And somehow, that silence from you carries more weight than anything they ever expected. It speaks louder than words, louder than effort, louder than anything you used to do. What you've stepped into isn't coldness. It's not bitterness, and it's definitely not revenge. This isn't a tactic or a game. This is something much deeper. It's what happens when you no longer rely on someone else to feel complete. It's a grounded, quiet strength that doesn't need validation or reassurance to exist. And that kind of energy changes everything. It becomes magnetic in a way that can't be forced or imitated. It's not loud, but it's powerful. It draws attention without trying. And for them, it's something entirely new. Something they've never quite felt from you before, because before, your energy was tied to them. Now it belongs fully to you. They start noticing things they can't easily explain. Small patterns, subtle reminders, moments that bring you back into their thoughts without warning. They think about reaching out, but something holds them back. At the same time, your silence feels heavier now. It's no longer easy for them to ignore or brush aside. A song plays, and it reminds them of you instantly. A random moment triggers a memory they didn't expect. Little coincidences start to feel louder, harder to dismiss. It's like something keeps pulling their focus back to you, no matter how much they try to move past it. There's a quiet pressure building inside them, pushing them toward honesty. But they're not fully ready to face it yet. And the truth is, timing isn't something they control, and it's not something you control either. Whatever exists between you is moving at its own pace, unfolding in ways neither of you can fully predict, because something real started between you. Something that began long before either of you had the awareness to understand it. And just because things have gone quiet doesn't mean it's over. Even now, beneath everything that looks like distance, something is still unfolding behind the scenes. Most people don't realize this, but the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything truly changed. The moment you stopped needing them, your presence became stronger, even in your absence. When you stood fully in yourself, without waiting, without reaching, you became impossible to ignore. This isn't an ending, it's a transformation. What you're stepping into now exists on your terms, not theirs. It's no longer about what they do next or whether they come forward. It's about who you've become in the process. Take a moment and place your hands on your knees. Feel that steadiness beneath your palms, that calm, grounded feeling. That's yours. It always was. You just weren't fully connected to it before. And now that you are, it's something no one else can take from you. That's the difference. You are the shift. Not because of anything they decide to do, not because of any message they might send or any action they might take, but because of the version of yourself you've stepped into. There has always been something greater holding you through this entire experience, through every quiet night, every moment of doubt, every unanswered question. Something has been guiding you back to yourself, even when it didn't feel like it. What's inside you never disappeared. It didn't weaken when they pulled away. It didn't fade when things became uncertain. It stayed steady, waiting for you to reconnect with it. And now, you have. You don't need permission to shine. You never did. You were always the source of that warmth, that depth, that love you kept giving away. And slowly, whether they admit it or not, they're beginning to recognize that too. You're not just someone they value. You're part of something much bigger, something that placed you exactly where you are right now, hearing something that resonates on a deeper level, because you were meant to reach this point. You didn't arrive here by accident. Something in you was ready to grow, ready to shift, ready to step into something more aligned with who you truly are. And now everything is beginning to reflect that. At some point it might show up as a message, something simple on the surface, maybe even casual or light. but underneath it there will be weight, there will be meaning, there will be everything they've been holding back, everything they didn't know how to say before. And when that moment comes, you'll meet it differently, because you're no longer the same person who was waiting for it. Maybe it won't come through words at all. Maybe it shows up in a single look, a quiet moment where everything they've been holding back rises to the surface in their eyes, and you both recognize it instantly. No explanations, no need to fill the silence, just a shared understanding that lands all at once. And in that moment, neither of you looks away, because something real is finally being seen without filters. Or maybe it comes in a way you never predicted, something so subtle you could almost overlook it if you weren't paying attention. A small gesture, a soft reach, something quiet enough that only stillness allows you to feel it fully. But however it arrives, you're not the same anymore. You're ready, not because you're waiting, but because you've let go of needing anything to happen. And that's the difference now. You won't chase it. You won't abandon yourself trying to hold on to it. You've reached a place where you understand who you are, and that understanding has changed the way you move, the way you respond, the way you exist. This calm you've stepped into doesn't run after anything. It doesn't force, doesn't chase, doesn't cling. It becomes the space where things either meet you or don't. And either way, you remain whole. Take a second and slowly run your fingers along your forearm. Feel the warmth under your skin. That's yours. That's your energy, your presence, your life moving through you. That's what shifted. That's what they felt, even from a distance. And it was never something they gave you. It was always something you carried. Every quiet effort you made mattered more than you realize. Every morning you got up and kept going without anyone noticing. You were seen. Every night you stayed open, even when it would have been easier to shut down. You were seen. Every time you chose patience instead of bitterness, softness instead of defense, you were seen. All the moments you carried something heavy without having the words to explain it, they mattered. Every time you gave more than you received, every time you stayed real when you had every reason to become guarded, you were seen through all of it. You were seen when you waited. You were seen when you reached. You were seen when you finally stopped. And you are seen now in the person you've become. You were never too much. Not then, not now. Time didn't take anything away from you. It shaped you into something more grounded, more aware, more real. What you felt wasn't imagined. The connection was real. And just because things went quiet doesn't mean it disappeared. You're not overthinking it. You're not wrong for feeling deeply. You're someone who experienced something meaningful and stayed long enough to understand what it revealed about you and what they feel. That hasn't just vanished either. It's not something they can logic their way out of or silence with distractions. It doesn't follow rules or timelines. It exists whether they're ready to face it or not. But their path isn't yours to carry. Their fear, their silence, their hesitation, that's something they have to work through on their own. What belongs to you now is something stronger, your peace, your stability, your sense of self, and nothing they do or don't do can take that from you anymore. You've already become someone different, someone they didn't expect, someone who doesn't need to be chosen to feel worthy, someone who doesn't wait for validation to feel complete. You're not standing here hoping they'll fill something inside you. You've already filled it yourself. You just see it clearly now. This stillness you feel isn't something you're trying to reach anymore. It's something you already carry within you, naturally, without effort. There is something bigger than this situation that has been holding you steady through all of it. Through the silence, through the confusion, through every moment you questioned what was real. The same force that keeps everything moving forward has been guiding you back to yourself. Not because you had to earn it, but because it's part of who you are. You're not waiting for your life to start anymore. You're already living it, fully, in your own space, on your own terms. And once you truly understand that, everything changes.